box. Grab you a glass of water and some popcorn. We're going to go over a few trades. We're going to go over my watch list. And the little seminars I had last week. I hope that was a help to everybody. I'm going to grab my water, drink a little bit of coffee, and when this song is done, we're going to get right to it. In about a few seconds. Wouldn't hurt to mute that, get all that feedback. Happy Sunday to everybody. As we know, we switched this around to a Sunday afternoon. I figured today was kind of a day that people are out getting all their errands done and people are coming back from church, maybe on Sunday, so I figured this might be a good time. Everybody's probably at home. Hit that like button. Share this video if you like. I really had a good week last week playing off the watch list. Has anybody watched any of the videos that I did last week? You can go to our website, hit this little icon right here where it says YouTube, and I did a part 5 series of stocks that just kind of a little series of how you can work a watch list off of just 5 stocks alone, and it was pretty successful. I was able to trade every stock on that watch list, sometimes 2 or 3 times, and it's all about patience and just kind of weeding out the bad and coming in with the good. So I want to welcome everybody to this Sunday. It's starting to warm up in Missouri. I've got my coffee. I've been out and I've already done my work, washed my car, changed my oil yesterday, and I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, about what got me into trading. And at a very young age, I always had this big ambition that I wanted to drive me a big old Cadillac. I was always dreamt when I was about 8, 9 years old what kind of person I'm going to be when I grow up. Am I going to be a businessman, or am I going to be a doctor, or am I going to be a lawyer? And life takes you through lots of journeys. So at a very young age, I become very sick. I had developed epilepsy, and doctors at that time, when I was about 12 years old, told me that I was going to die by the time I was 20, because they thought I had a brain tumor. And it turned out that I saw this Asian doctor once and went in there and he had me hyperventilate, and I went into what they call a petit mal epileptic seizure. And so I had to quit everything that I did. I was very active in sports. I loved to box. I was basketball. I loved to play baseball. So I had to put a stop to all that. Especially boxing was my favorite sport of all. And I kind of snuck around, still went to the boys club and still boxed around, but without telling the coaches and stuff. And then they finally found out through a physical when I started to become a semi-pro, and I had to quit. So then my life ambitions were all destroyed, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. I wanted to be in sports, so I thought about acting, and I got into comedy, and that didn't work out too well. I started to party, and then after I started partying, I started playing music, and I started being in bands, and I started traveling around playing in bands. And then I started getting old and wanted to settle down a little bit, so I started figuring out what am I going to do next. And so I went to college, and I got me a 2 years degree in associates in business management, and I decided to run me a picture frame shop. So I lived in Sedalia, Missouri, and I ran a picture frame shop, and I went to college at the same time. I've always kept myself very active, doing two things at once. So I got into picture framing, and I did that for about 18 years, moved to Hawaii, and then I decided I wanted to start trading stocks, because I figured the only way out was to be able to trade stocks and to become one of them fat cats. So I was one of the very first people to have a chat room back in 2004. And we started, and this is about, time the internet was coming up, and so we started a chat room, and then I got into another chat room with another guy, and then I think by this time I was already in 3 different chat rooms, and they were all different. They didn't have Discord back then. So then I created one of my own, and I did that for a couple of years. And then I decided I wanted to go ahead and do something different. So I was sitting in the chat room one day, and Miss Vegas comes walking in there, and this is about 3.5 years ago. And she seen how good of a chartist I was and really liked that. So we started talking back and forth, and then she moved me on to Discord, and I got involved with United Traders and got involved with Leo, and so been at it for about 16 years now trading, and I have my own way of trading. I don't trade off algorithms or anything like that. I try to find my own supports, pivot points, and resistances. So I like trying to share that with people that I know, and that's kind of the basics of how I started getting trading. And when I moved back from Hawaii, when I started trading, I said, what kind of job, how can I keep a good income coming in and still be able to sit here 8 hours a day behind this computer and learn how to trade? And my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend was selling his janitorial business. So I gave him 10 grand for that janitorial business, and that gave me the opportunity to sit here and learn what I know now. I decided I wanted to become a technical trader, and I got a lot of my information from mentors that I met on YouTube and on the internet. And then I started following StockTwits and Twitter, and so that's basically how I started getting into trading. That's my bio, and that is no denial. So everybody's got to start somewhere, and that's how I started. And now I'm to the point where I want to retire maybe in a year or two, and I want to travel around and become a traveling trader and visit people throughout the country and throughout the world that I've traded with, and buy them a dinner and just kind of get to know them a little bit. So that's going to be my ambition here in another year or two. I'm going to probably get rid of everything that I own but my computers and the clothes that I have on my back, and travel out of a suitcase and around in planes and go to different countries. And I want to spend a lot of my time in the Caribbean, and I want to have a little foundation in Hawaii, somewhere on the Big Island, or maybe on Maui. I want to go somewhere where if I do come home, I know I'm going to be coming home to a warm, sunny day. I don't like living in Missouri anymore. It seems like half the year is just nasty weather, cold weather, rainy weather, tornadoes, and I'm a sunny kind of guy. I'm a beach boy, and I like to hang out on the beach and put my foot in the sand, and that's kind of what my ambitions are for the next couple of years. So I want to talk about some of these. Last week, Monday, I decided I'm going to start a watch list of 5 stocks. And if you followed any of these videos, you're able to follow and monitor how I was trading these stocks throughout the week. I was pointing out supports, pivot points, and resistance levels. You're welcome to go back and watch them videos at any time and hit them like buttons and share them with other friends. But what I'm trying to say is there's so many ways you can take this market. You can take, and I've always talked about the watch list. I've always told everybody, have you a top 20 watch list, clean it up, thin it out. So I just took 5 stocks on the top of my head, and everybody knows what they were if they watched them videos. They were Tesla, Apple, Baidu, Tesla, Apple, Baidu, and I'm having flashbacks. Boeing and JFIN. So this is the watch list that I started last week, and I've added on to it, and I'm going to take one off of it. And the one I'm going to take off of it's going to be the pump and dump JFIN. So I figured I've already had my fun with it. It did pull back to my support level that I did call, but I didn't take the trade. But I was able to take the trade on all the other 4 stocks. And I did take Jiffin. I mean, I did take it, and I took a little loss on it. I decided I wanted to get out, and then I just kind of threw it away because it was more or less junk to me. It was a pump and dump. But, you know, I can still play them pullbacks. So basically, when I do these videos, I'm just trying to help you all try to learn how to try to find the supports, pivot points, and resistances to a chart. We all trade differently, and we all got to get a little piece of each other when we're trying to build our own foundation, our own way of trading, and that's just part of the trick. So I did a 5-part series last week of stocks that I really wanted to try to trade, and I did pretty good on them. You know, I took a loss the week before on Tesla and on Boeing, so I still kept them on my watch list because I still like the stocks. I think they're great stocks. So is everybody hearing me okay? Hit that like button, that's for sure. And if you have any comments down below after this video's over, any stocks that you want me to look at, I'll go ahead and throw them support levels in there too. But we're going to go ahead and go over my little watch list today, and we're going to see what we can find in it, and I'm going to be adding to that watch list by some of the picks that you all picked. Now, I've already gone through 20 minutes of this. I've gave you my little bio about me and how I got started trading, and you know, I've been surrounded by a lot of great traders, and I've learned from every one of them. I've learned from beginners mostly. I appreciate the beginner trader probably more than I do the experienced trader, because I'm a hands-on kind of person. I like to go ahead and learn stuff, you know, with my hands, and that's the way I feel like from you all. When you ask me a question or you have me look up a stock, it makes my brain work. It makes me think out of the box. And there's never a stupid question. So anybody that ever tells you that there is a stupid question being asked, or if you have to ask it 2 or 3 times, that doesn't bother me none, because I want to make sure that we understand each other and that we can get the job done together. And so, like I said, I've learned more from the beginners than I have far from the experienced trader. I've noticed that a lot of experienced traders have big egos and it's their way or no way. And I'm not like that. I have many charts that I work off of, and I have many great ideas that I've got through the years from looking up answers that I did not know. And that's made me a better trader. But I'm not an algorithm kind of trader. I mean, I trade off the moving averages. I use the Fibonacci's every once in a while. I do have an automatic Fibonacci chart that I do use. It kind of just gives me a little idea. This is my automatic Fibonacci chart, and if you notice down below, down there in the content, this link to this chart will be in that content. You'll see it says script to fibs. So you're welcome to go ahead and take that if you do have TOS, and you can use the chart that I'm using. But I have many charts. I mean, I just don't rely on one source, one moving average, one chart. I move it around, I mix it around, because not always one chart's going to be the right answer. There might be something else in another chart setup that will give you the answer. And I've realized that throughout the time. You know, I was talking about the John Pearson pivot points this weekend. That's one that I've used when I first started trading to compare to where I can find supports and pivot points. So in my stock challenge, these are the 3 stocks that I swung over the weekend, and I was up on all 3 of them. I think I'm up on all 3 of them right now. I'm in Apple, TME, and Tesla. and you know how I like Tesla. And then I've been playing Apple too at a support channel, more or less in a Darvis box for the last month or two, just sideways, back and forth. And then I got in TME. I swung that, scalped it twice, and then I'm swinging it, and then I got in on that big bump that happened at the end of the day, Friday. So we're going to go over these three tickers that I'm swinging right now, and then we're going to talk about a few others that's on the watch list, and then I'm going to go over stocks that you like, and we're going to try to find some supports and pivot points and resistance levels. Now, if you think you're a well-rounded trader, you think you really know everything and you think you know it all, this might not be the course that you want to be sitting with. But if you want to learn how to try to find pivot points, supports, and resistance levels, and try to be in the now like I am, it might be good to go ahead and kick back and watch these videos that I produce every day. They are educational videos. There's always something in there to learn, and there's always something that will help you out in some kind of way or manner. You know, I get asked a lot, you know, where's support, or how are you so accurate on them support levels? Well, in pivot points and resistance levels, when do you know when to get out? Because, you know, the stock's dropping. How'd you know to get out at that stock at that time? And a lot of it has to do with consolidation and chart patterns and candlestick patterns. So if you want to become a better technical trader, those are the three things that I would probably get into, and also learn the news and be in the now. And, you know, I always talk about my 5 steps of what I look at before I get into a trade. So if you hang around with me, you'll hear about them 5 steps quite a bit. So subscribe to this channel and ring that bell, so anytime that comes up on YouTube, you can kick back and watch a 5-10 minute broadcast of the stock that I might be watching that next day, and you can look to see how accurate or how good these pullbacks and these supports can really get to. But let's go ahead and start talking about a few of these stocks. We're going to go ahead and start in with Apple. We've had a pretty hard sell-off on these tech stocks, and I still don't think it's over with yet, and I still don't think the volatility is over with yet. But I don't think the market really knows what it's doing. Wall Street, we are in an irrational exuberance period with COVID. It's amazing how much this market's gone up. This has been a very excellent learning experience in the past year and a half. I've never been in this situation before. I've been through the real estate bubble. I've been through the Obama crash. I've been through the Obama run, which we had a stagnated inflation. Wages weren't going up, but Wall Street was. A lot of that had to do with all that printing. We went from $4 trillion, I think we went from $9 trillion all the way to $20 trillion in 8 years. and the debt, it just got higher. And now they're talking about another $10 trillion added to the deficit. Not counting the $3 trillion bill they're wanting to do on infrastructure. So that's $13 trillion they're still wanting to add to the economy. And I think it's just crazy. I appreciate the private sector over I do the government sector. You know, I think the private sector creates the jobs. But they're wanting to go ahead and stick another $10 trillion in the union's beds. So that's probably what we're going to see for the next 4 years, a lot of spending. I'm going to take a drink of water. I feel like I'm out of... Let's say I want to take a guzzle of water. So we're going to start talking about a few stocks that are in the challenge. And that's going to be Apple. There's JFIN. We'll just go ahead and do this one first. This was on the watch list. We're going to pull up the 20-day. If y'all remember, I called a support level right down here at 822 to 824 off this hump at the beginning of last week when we had this huge breakout. And I said, this thing's going to pull back. It's going to pull back, and it's going to hit this 200 EMA on a 20-day 1 hour. And we're going to see this 822 to 824 level. And if you go back in the videos, I said that exactly. And we hit it twice. I could have scalped it on this day here, but I think I was engulfed in a couple other trades, and I just didn't want to deal with this scalp right here. And if I would have done it, I would have scalped it in my original account and not in an options account. So this challenge was all to do with the options challenge, because those are the trades that I post that I'm in. I don't share my trades that I'm in my big account. I try to swing them a little bit longer, but I'm usually in them trades when I'm in my options trade. So I'm still taking the trade. I'm just showing you how you can make money with a small account. I want to bring this account up to 50,000 this year if I'm able to. Get me a condo in Maui, Hawaii. So this is Jiffin. I'm going to be taking it off the watch list, but I just wanted to prove to you that you can find these support levels, and I found it through the previous high that we had down here, and I moved it off the 200 EMA on the 20-day 1-minute chart. These are my EMA charts. I have the 20, the 100, the 34, and also the 9. And a lot of people use the 20. I like the 34 because I like to play knives, and I think the 24 is a better catcher, or the 34 is a better catcher, but maybe the 200 is probably the best when you're trying to catch these knives on these huge breakout stocks. Now, if you're in the room and you see me post these charts, I talk about that 200 all the time, and I talk about the 50. So it's a real good catcher when it comes to the daily 1 minute. So I'm going to be taking Jiffin off my watch list, and I'll do that right now. And I did it right now, so it's off there. And we're going to talk next one about what else am I in on this trade? I think Apple. So let's look at Apple. Got in this trade perfect. I couldn't believe it. Now, I've called this 119 many times in the room. I mean, just over and over again. Now, if you look at the 20-day chart, you can see we've been kind of playing in a Darvis box, and the thing breaks out and pulls back. I called this early strong buy down here and took this trade and ran it all the way up to about 123, and then I got out of it. On my 5-day rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I was out of the stock. Yeah, it ran up after hours, but look, we had a good pullback after that. So I got out of it at the high, and I took my profit. Then we pulled back to that support level that I kept yelling out in the room at 119. We hit it on Thursday, and then we hit it again on Friday. And I said, I seen it touch down there on Friday, and I went ahead and jumped into the trade. Now, this happened right at so I got in at $3, and this time happened right at 134, right before that big bounce. That's Central Standard Time, Mountain Time. And I made it for April 16th. So I have plenty of time to get into this trade. But right now I'm up about $100 on it. So I'm wondering, am I going to come in here and get out of this thing when it spikes up on Monday? And, I'm thinking about it. We're at 390 right now, and I think I'm up $5 after hours on the option. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the chart. And I'm going to tell you where I think I want to get out of this chart, and I'm going to pull up the 20-day. This here is a different chart that I use. This is the SMA chart. I only have 2 moving averages on it, and that's the 50 and the SMA. Now, I like playing the golden crosses, and I like playing the death wishes. But we've been bearish on this stock for quite a bit when the 50 is under that 200. Once that 50 rises above that 200, we become bullish, and that's when you want to stay in the trade maybe. But I play my 5-day rule. I'm out of the stock, especially when a stock goes up 5 days in a row. I'm out, period. So the little Darvis box in this trade is from about 119 all the way up here to right around this resistance level of right around 123.80. So I'm looking to get out of this trade come Monday. If we can get up here to right around 123.80, if that doesn't break, I'm going to go ahead and get out of the trade and play the pullback support on it and get back in the trade again at 119. That's my game plan, but we do have lower highs. We just got to break this resistance level of this 200 on the 20-day 1 hour. Try to get up here to 123.80. If I can get it to 125.36, That'll be a nice little trade, and I'll take my profit. Now, I tell everybody, you got to have a game plan. You got to know exactly where you want to get into the trade before you get into the trade, and when you want to get out of the trade before you get out of the trade. You got to have some kind of goal, some kind of expectation. Now, that's what has kind of well-rounded me to become a better trader, because I look at these charts and I say, okay, I'm in the trade, and where am I going to get out? You know, if you got to ask that question, where's resistance? You got to step it up a little bit. You got to kind of try to find that on your own. A lot of people use algorithms. They use a Fibonacci extension, or they use something else. But I've learned through time. I've done over 1 million charts, and I've learned that my accuracy is a lot better than them algorithms and them other things that come into the play. I've really learned that. I do love using the moving averages when it comes to breakout stocks and the pullbacks on them. And those are my favorite moving average, believe it or not, is the SMA 50 and the 200. I can just play them two moving averages and be happy for the rest of my life. But I have so many different charts, and I'm always learning different ways. So Apple, we're going to try to sell this thing at 123.80 if it doesn't break. If it does, I'm out of the trade at 125.36. And I'm really surprised that Apple hasn't been a stronger stock through COVID. It's kind of shocked me, and I still think it's way undervalued. But I'm going to keep playing it. I mean, it's a $200 scalp every time I play it. Every time. And it's usually a day trade, or it's a overnight swing. And then I'm in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's the way Apple is. So the next one we're going to talk about, and let's look at the watch list. Where are you? Oh, you're over here. Okay, Baidu. Baidu has had some issues with China. We had a real pure strong sell-off on that for the last 3 days. Now I took the trade and took a $200 loss on it. And then bam, it got below that, it got way down. I had like a support level here at 228, and then we dropped down all the way to 174. Now, there's two issues. China basically is not allowing our government to go in there and check some of these paperwork books out, so they thought about putting this on the delisting list with a couple others, TME and BABA, I think, and it just took a hard beating. People shorted this stock, and they all jumped on it and rode the train. Now we're into a reversal play. And the way I understand, Mr. Basket posted, and I've seen the post myself a few different times, that Goldman Sachs has put a bunch of money into this stock on this dip. So I'm expecting a pretty good rebound on it. Biden got a little mouthy with China there a couple weeks ago, and now he's wanting to kiss their ass. So he's an appeasement president, and that's why I'm saying I think we're going to get a nice little rebound on this stock. And I think it's going to go up here, at least break the 227.12 area, and I get it off that previous low right here on the 20-day 1 hour. Now, if you look at the yearly, we'll pull up the yearly right here. We've had a good pullback to that 200 right here. So now I talk about this 200 all the time. I talk about it constantly on these great pullbacks. You got to go back in history and look at this 200 SMA. I'm going to put my arm down and tell you how accurate this thing is. We hit that 200 almost perfect. And look, we had that big, huge bounce off that from 172 all the way to 208. And maybe I'll show you a couple other stocks that have pulled back real hard and has hit this 200. I think ARC. I got in ARC, called ARC at the bottom. It ran up $150 on the option. It's in my personal account. I said, man, why is this stock selling so bad? It was down huge. And I just looked at the 200 and I said, oh gosh, it's ready. We've had a double bottom on it. Bam. So we're going to try to bring this back up to an equilibrium. And now I'm going to look for a pivot point on this yearly chart. If you noticed, this is more or less a pivot point channel right in here. I'll take this and draw this trend line right here, where we had these two pullbacks right here. So to me, this is going to be like a little area of a pivot point channel, and I'm going to color that in. That's how I found the pivot point on the yearly chart. I didn't use an algorithm. I didn't use a already preset indicator. I don't know if it's that accurate, but I know it's accurate in my book. Well, how do I determine if it's a pivot point? Well, you've got the touchdowns, you've got the touchbacks, you've got the touchback, you've got a consistent area right in here to where this becomes support level on the yearly, and all this up here becomes resistance levels. So we do have a pretty wide little channel here at the pivot point, and I'm using this first one because it's off this candle right here, and then it's off the bottoms of these. So I got to have a little bit of leadway in there from 227 to 232. So that's the average. That's where we got to break. But come Monday, we're going to be looking at a couple other spots of resistance levels. So on this 1 year here on the Baidu, we're going to draw a trend line off the body of this candle. Now watch. I want to show you something on the body of this candle. It goes right there. You've got this body of this candle right here kissing it. You got the body of this candle kissing it. You got the wick of this candle kissing it. You got the body of this candle kissing it. So there's an equilibrium. That's called an equilibrium. That's going to be our first resistance that we got to break come Monday on Baidu. Is going to be that 219.33. So that's going to be your first. If you get up into the resistance level or to the pivot point area, right now these are resistance levels. But if we get up to this pivot point area and it pulls back, that will become your first support. But for right now, we're calling it a resistance level. Then I'm going to do a couple more lines in here and try to determine where the other resistance levels are. So I'm going to use the body of this candle right here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit that 238.89. Notice, body of the candle, body of the candle. All these candles are indicators. All these candles are in there, the body of the candle. I had a spinning top right here, and look what happened when you had that spinning top. Bam! This was a great indicator to get into the trade the next day when this candle was above this one. But the China news came out, and then bam. 3 ugly days. Now these were 3 black crows. I talk about the 3 black crows all the time. I say they're indicators. Now the books will tell you different. A lot of times they'll tell you it's a bearish pattern. But I've noticed throughout time, after I've received 3 black crows on the daily, they usually become very bullish in my book. And I'm ready to take the trade. I'm ready to look for a confirmation on that next day to try to get into the trade. But we still had to be in the now, and we knew that China was kind of, being a screw up with these stocks. So we're going to take this, we're going to draw one more trend line on here, and I'm going to try to look for another place that I see as a resistance level. You see all kinds of candles, but what we're trying to do is trying to find a consistency. If we are able to find a consistency, now I would already have this chart drawn up in less than probably a minute. If I was doing this on my own, I can look at it within 10 to 15 seconds if I want to take the trade. It would have only took me 1 second to determine if I wanted to take Baidu on Friday. And that's because we touched this 200. That was a bullish sign to me to really look at this trade and try to figure out where I wanted to get into it. So I did take the trade in my personal account, but I didn't take it in my challenge account because I had so much already in my challenge account that, I don't want to overload my challenge portfolio, because a lot of times when I do that, I end up losing a lot of money. And I just don't want to do that. I want to build this account up because I'm looking forward to that condo in Hawaii. So we're going to draw one more trend line in here. The body of the candle, the bodies of the candles, bodies, wick. And that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to take this to the 20-day. And let's draw a support level in here. You see this? Perfect. See that? Bam. See the closing of that candle on Thursday? Bam. So now we're going to take this to the 20-day. So we're all lined up for the 20-day. We got a Darvis box that we broke out of right here. This is a Darvis box. So I think we're going to get back up into that box eventually. Now, knowing that Goldman Sachs has put a ton of money in this stock, knowing that a lot of people that I know, and I really like this stock, I really do. I mean, you get into this option, this thing can really pay good. Now, I've just been watching it. I haven't really took the trade that many times, but last week, before I started this challenge of 5 days, I said, I'm going to trade this stock I'm going to trade this stock this week, because I watched it the previous day before, and this one right here, and it was up like $600 on the option. And the same thing happened right in here, and the same thing happened right in here. This was a huge run that happened in the day of close, and we had 3 white soldiers, just the opposite of 3 black crows. When you have 3 white soldiers, you expect a little pullback for consolidation, and then you have a new breakout to the next resistance level. So on Baidu, we got to break 219.33, get it to the pivot point, break this pivot point, and get past 232.63, and then try to find some more resistance levels on the way up. Maybe take it all the way back to 250. But we're going to have still that, this is going to be a volatile stock, so you want to try to get in on the dip. But just look at this daily, what happened at the end of the day. We had the double bottom, and a lot of times, people will chase the stock, and if you miss that breakout, if you miss this breakout, let me change this to a different time frame. I want to look at this here stage. I want to take this to a 5-minute. Yeah, don't tell me nothing. But that was ugly sell-off right there, and that was the time to get into the trade and scalp it up to the 200. I talk about the 200 SMA. This is I just can't tell you how easy it is to trade, and simple means simple. Simple means slow, and I have a slow brain. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I can't do a lot of things at once, but I can sure in the heck take a trade and run it to the resistance level one at a time. And I always talk about, this is a bearish mode. Then we had a golden cross, and then bam, she just took off. That's when the 50 crosses the 200. But a lot of times, when people are watching, when I'm scalping these stocks, and I get in, and I say, I'm getting out at the 200. I say it all the time. I say it 2 or 3 times a week in the room. When I'm scalping, or when I'm day trading, or when I'm trying to find a resistance level, I'll take that 200. I'll take that 200. I'll take that 200. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 times before she decided to go ahead and break that 200. That's a solid resistance bar. That's the 200 SMA on a daily 1 minute. So yeah, that's it's really an easy for beginners. This is probably the most simplest moving averages that you can work off of. And then later on, you can develop into the EMAs and learn how to trade them. And if it wasn't for Tony, I'd probably still be trading these. Tony Stark, I'd probably still be trading these SMAs, because they just worked for me for many years. It's just, and then I started using the EMAs, which are a little bit more difficult, a little bit at a faster pace, a little bit more of the price action trade, to where the SMA is more of a simple moving average. And they mean simple, that's exactly what it means, simple. So if you're having a hard time charting, I would suggest start off with the SMAs and then work up to the EMAs. That's just my opinion. I'm not always 100% right. But it worked for me, and it's worked for others that I've helped throughout my years of showing them how I use these moving averages. So that's Baidu. We want to take it to 219 and break that 219. We're going to, if it does pull back to support level, we're going to look for a consolidated area, and that's going to be right in here. It's where we had these previous highs. See right there? See right there? See where we're right there? So we're going to try to find an equilibrium in there that's really solid, and I'm looking at right there. Bam, bam, bam. And even right in here where they pulled back a few times. Another confirmation. So that's going to be our support level. If it pulls back to 195, I might get back into the trade in my options account and run it all the way up to 219. And that is Baidu. Expect a little volatility in these stocks. You'll get it. But the close of the day, and I contribute this to the banks being able to have buy back their shares, and I contribute it to a lot of it to Biden and his flip-flopping on China and Putin, because he invited them to some kind of summit. Now, they're big on this climate change at no cost. They want to get it done, and I think it'll cause more harm than good to the country. But I've always been an environmentalist. I was recycling when I was, 8 years old. I lived in Oregon, so that's kind of what they taught you. We're going to have a low knife if it gets down to 186. And that's Baidu. So let's talk about one more on the watch list, and then we'll move on to stocks that you all want to talk about. Where are you, watch list? There you are. Let's talk about Tesla. I got into, there's a couple I want to run through. Tesla, did I already talk about it? Nope. So Tesla had a nice little bounce. I got into the trade on Tesla too in my options challenge. Right here, we got in the, and I scalped it, and then I held this one here. So I got into this strike right here at 650. Right now we're at 915, and I got into the option at 905, right a half hour before close. And I already sold the option that I was in my other account, and I decided I wanted to go ahead and try to swing this over the weekend. I think we're going to get a nice little bounce on this Monday. There's a lot of bears on this stock. I'm okay with that. They don't understand Tesla. They're fundamental traders, or they just don't know what the hell they're doing. But we have had, and the problem, I think the big carry on with this one here brought down a lot of these EV stocks is the chip shortage. Well, Tesla's a chip maker. They make their own chips. So they're not going to sweat it. Now the other car companies, NIO, the ones that rely on other companies to build their chips, they're going to have some issues. So keep that in mind when you're, I don't want to sell this sucker right when I come in Monday and it sells on me. But we're going to go ahead and look at the stock. I'm a Tesla lover. Eventually we'll have me a Cybertruck when I get a lot of money in the old checking account. We're going to look at the 20-day. She's had a pretty good hard sell-off, and I'm going to show you a little bit on the daily 1 minute how I took this trade the day before. Let me go back. I really loved this trade on Thursday. I took it 2 times in my major account. I held it all the way to the top. And then I showed the room how to scalp it to that 200. I said, this is the exit point. If you're in the trade, to go ahead and get out of it. I got in it first thing in the morning, called it in the room. It ran all the way to that 200, and I was out of the trade. Then it had a drastic pullback. If you're able to read these charts, and this is a lot of money right in here. This dip is a lot of money that you left on the table. This is a stock that I trade constantly. I've traded this stock for 10 years. It's on my watch list. It's the first thing I look at every day. There's a trade to be made on Tesla every day. If it's either pulling back or it's going up. So this thing pulled back, and it was time to get it back into the trade again. I got back in it, run it all the way up here, hit my exit sign, my resistance level at 642, I got out of the trade. I don't hesitate. When I hit a moving average or when I hit my exit idea, I'm out of the trade because I know it's going to pull back and I can get back in it. It's going to pull back. I can get back in it. You're talking about $200 or $300 in here. You're leaving on the table. $200 or $300. I mean, this is a $500 trade right here. And it pulled back. Could have lost about 300. You held it. It'd been a lot of, and moved on. Other people would move on. But when I'm in a trade, my eyes are peeled on top of the trade. And I'm going to take what I can, and I'm going to buy the dip. And that's exactly what I did. This is the first time I've swung this trade over the weekend in a challenge account. The first time was Friday. So I'm expecting to have, maybe, I'm hoping, we're going to have a sharp knife, and then bam, I hope it breaks on up. So we got a little resistance level, and I'm going to clear this up. I do want to break this resistance level of 634. Now that's going to be a hard resistance level. And this is my pivot point in that on the 5-day chart. If we can get past 634, I'll ride it all the way up to 642 and get out of the trade, and then wait for the pullback. But had a nice sell-off Friday, and it was just a great opportunity to jump in the trade. I took it down here. We had the double bottom. It was clear to me to go ahead and take the entry. I took it at the double bottom. I sold one of my positions, and I held on to one. So I'm expecting this 50-day moving average to move up above the 200 to break this 634, and then maybe exit the trade at 642 unless it gets some kind of news and the bulls start coming after it. But don't, I watched this thing just get article of great news, and then I watched it get article of pissy news, and it pulled it on back. So I think the media is in cohorts with a lot of these fat cats on Wall Street. You got somebody behind the desk that's real biased. So the next one I'm going to talk about that I did in the challenge, and this is going to be the last one I talk about, and that's going to be TME. Now TME is involved with the Chinese sell-off, and I got into this trade at 162. Now this is a couple times I traded this in a different account, and I made 50 bucks a scalp. So I'm up on it right now. Got in at 162, and right now we're at 251. So I'm up a good 90 bucks on this option alone, one option. I was expecting to buy one, and if it dipped, I was going to buy a couple more and average down. But then right into close, TME, and let's go ahead and go back to my 200 here. We'll type this in. I think we've got a nice little recovery session going on with this trade. I've got a resistance channel that I want to break, and that's going to be right in here. And we're going to break this $20, and if we can break it past 20, we can take this up to 21.30, 21.13, and 22.57. Now, this has had a real nasty sell-off too, almost 100%, from 32 all the way down to 16.31 in a matter of 3 days. So I'm looking for a dead cat bounce. I'm looking for this thing to break out, go past 20 bucks, and hit that pivot point area of 21.13, that pivot point area on the 5-day chart. And once we do that, we're going to hit a little resistance here at 22.57. Resistance, why? Because we pulled back here and consolidated. That's resistance level. That means, that's why I draw a line there. And hey, I bet you're all wondering what's that hat? Why is that guy wearing that hat? Well, this hat represents probably 1,000 concerts that I've played in. This hat represents probably more than 3,000 fish that I've caught. It has all kinds of little pretty things on it. It has all my guitar picks of contests I won in singing and playing music. It's just a hat that I made that I've wore for over 25 years. So it's my good luck charm. It's my thinking hat. So if anybody ever wonders what kind of hat that is, that's something that I've painted, and I put fishing lures on, and I put guitar picks on, and it's just my good luck charm, and I just like my hat. So that's where the hat story comes into. But we're going to try to break this 22.57 in this channel, and if we can, we're going to bring it up to the next resistance level of 25.18. If I can break the 22.57, I'll carry it up into this next channel, and we'll hit this spot right in here, 23.79. I'm looking for a pivot point in the channel as a resistance level, and then we have a solid resistance here at 25.18, and I'll probably, if I can run it up that high, I'm out of the trade, and I think this option will be worth at least $250 to $300 after I'm done with it. And that's TME. So those are the ones that I've had on my watch list that I traded last week and that I am now swinging over the weekend. And I think that's about it. And we're going to go over some stocks that you all have. And I appreciate it if everybody made sure they hit that like button. This will be pre-recorded, so you can always go back and watch it again. And I have no problem of you taking these charts off here and copying and pasting them and using them for your own personal reference. And if you do share them on social media, just say where you got them from. That's all I ask. But if you're new to the channel, Miss Vegas, she's a money flow queen. You can always watch her alerts in here. She's posting alerts in here on a daily basis. And also on the website, you can go to our StockTwits links and follow us on StockTwits. Our links are in here, and I'm posting alerts in here all the time. And mostly I post everything that I do in my options trading, in my options challenge. So like I said, I want to try to bring this to $50,000 this year and use it for a good payment on a good plot in the Maui or maybe Honolulu. I lived in Honolulu for almost a year. It seemed like a mansion with 3 other guys, and it was just a great place and a great time of my life. And I just want to go back and get away from this country and get away from all the drama. And I feel like when I'm in Hawaii that I'm in a whole different spirit. So let's go ahead and start talking about stocks you like. I got my FinViz up here. I'm going to take my Twitter off and my StockTwits. Who's first? Joshua, what you got? Native, welcome. Steve, glad to see you. Jackie, Uncle Float. I love that. I love that. Thunderbird, Native. So if you capitalize your tickers, I can read them a lot better. Yeah. Take a drink of coffee. Now this is where I turn it all on to you. And the first one we're going to talk about is going to be, Jim, I hope you're doing well. I'm feeling a lot better. Doing a lot better. The sun is out. I went out. I just love the sun. I've been out for a walk yesterday and washed my car today. So, ticker skills. Well, okay. Jim, hope you're well. Ticker is my ton of charts right now. Bounced directly off the 200 MA on the yearly. Could be a decent spot. Best regards. SKLZ. Let's take a look at it. SKLZ. I got the skills. Oh, SKLX. Whoa. What did happen here? Got a new chart I'm working with. This is a new chart that I'm started studying. I might post the link down here below because I think it's open out to YouTube and everybody, but it's also another link that you can share on TOS. I'm just now starting to learn the chart myself, and I'll post it down in the content area after I'm done with the video. So if you come back and you want to try a new chart, this might be something for beginners to start working off of. And I don't even know what it's called, but that's another one. So let's look at skills. Let's look at the yearly chart here. You can see I've never charted it up. Look at that. Who's right? Right off that 200 SMA. That's an indicator that this rate could be rebouncing. Skills pulls back. Technical levels to watch. Somebody says they have technical levels to watch. I don't need to watch that because we already know where they are. It's at 200, and that's solid support level. See right here where we pulled back? See right here where we pulled back? So yeah, that's a pretty solid little area. I like it. I think, well, I have charted this up before. So let me go ahead and clear this all out, start fresh. That don't take much skill at all. I'm a nut. 1778, that was a good year. Or was that 1978? I think that's when I lost my virginity. Right there at 1972. And we've got one more right up in here. Then we've got this real hard resistance right up here. I think this is going to start rebounding. Let's look at the news. See if there's anything in the news. Kathy Woods, ARC, post purchases. Oh, looks like she might have bought some of this stuff. Oh, Kathy. First quarter revenue, $80 million. Up. Revenue's up. I like that. Up from 80 million to 76. First quarter revenue. Let's see if we can find anything in here about any upgrades. Price common share offering of $24 a share on 3/19. I don't like that. Skills price common offering. Skills dropped 10% after public offering. See, offerings are never good to me, but they are sometimes buying opportunities on the pullback. So they're definitely need some money. But we did pull back to a critical support level. So, you know, that kind of, you know, if I was rated from 1 to 5 and I had a 5 rating on it and I saw the offering thing, I'd probably bring it back down to a 3. But now that we've hit this 200, I'd raise it up to a 4. I think it'd be buying material. So we're going to bring it to the 20-day 1 hour. We got 3 resistance levels we need to break. We got a double bottom at 1767 if it does pull back. 1778. Let's go with my trend line at 1778. We could have a double bottom, and then she might start to find resistance level. This is the resistance level we need to break, and that's going to be right here at 1874. We're at 1860 right now after hours, or at least not after hours, but as we closed. So we got to break this 1860, which we got to break really the 1874, 1972, and then 2076. That's going to be a hard resistance to break. If we can break that, we'll bring it up here 2186 and then 2270. And then it can find an equilibrium or a support level here, and that's going to be your pivot point area right here at 2326. And that's going to be skills. I like it. I think we are down here at the bottom play. The next one we're going to talk about is Happy Palm Sunday. Yes, I agree, Jackie. Your ticker today is going to be EOSE. Please take a look. Thank you. And you're the only, you are only as old as you feel. That's true. That's true. I feel, you know, I still feel like I can box in the ring. I still feel like I can put up a good fight. I can't play baseball no more. I've retired from that. And I still think I can fish. And I still think I can drink a good glass of wine. So we're going to go up here and we're going to look at EOSE. EOSE. Oh. Okay, let's look at the yearly. See what kind of news we got in here. Is this a low float by any chance, Jackie? Energy stocks, AMID award slides on crude oil. Energy, Enterprise, EOS. I want to do one thing here. I want to read something about it. I just want to take a second here. I got to go through my little process. Eaton Advanced Equity Fund, closed equity fund launched to manage Eaton Management Fund opportunity dividend sectors. Come on, give me what you do. Fund marks. Okay. Do I got the right stock here? Funded form in January. Okay. Distribution dates and the amounts announced of Eaton closed funds, estimated source distribution. Okay. Well, that don't tell me much. It's probably not a small float. Probably not. Yeah, I don't even talk about the float. Okay. Let's go to the 200 again. So definitely we don't want to see it go down in here. I mean, this will be a strong buy if it touches this area right in here. If it gets down to 16 bucks, that's going to be a strong buy. We still got a bearish candle right here. It hasn't determined what it wants to do yet. If it does want to do anything, it needs to break this resistance of 1823 off this top of this candle right here, in the body of this, then bring it on up here to this, and then right in here. So we've had a pretty hard sell-off on it, all the way from the top up here from 21 down to 16, 17 bucks, and I think she can probably, maybe, let's go to the 20-day. Support level right here. She did pull back after hours. 1771, that's pretty, nasty drop too. I think it can drop down again and find a double bottom. Or a triple bottom right down here. If she gets down to 17 bucks, I'd almost take the trade. Come on. Thing wouldn't do nothing. Right there. So I have 3 different support levels. Strong buy down here right around 17 to bring it up to the channel of 1769. If it drops down below this here on Monday or this week, I'd almost take the trade here at, like I said, at $17 and run it up to 1769, and hopefully it breaks resistance. Now, if we start running up in the morning, come Monday, we got to break resistance level of 1860. But right now, I think we're ready for another pullback and then bring it back up and create a Darvas box and go sideways with it until we get that resistance level of 1860, and then that's going to be hard to break. If you can break past that, that'll be fine. We did pull back here once before, right here, so I want to draw that line in there too. Kind of call that the first channel of support level between 1769 and 1860, and that's what we already went down below. So yeah, it's either 1739 or 1694 to run it back up to resistance, and that's going to be EOSE. I give it a 3 out of 5. Next one, Obama crash. He didn't take office until, no, he took office, he was running for president back in 2007. And that's when I started seeing things change in the market. And when he took office, when he got elected, the market crashed in that month and then dipped on down. And that was back in 2008. So yeah, I call it I predicted that we were going to crash before everybody else did, and we had one hell of a crash. And the same thing happened, might happen with this presidency because of all the debt that they're talking about and all the over-regulations that they're going to put out. But I think it's a different time and a different era. So if you were alive back then when the crash happened, you would have seen exactly what happened. General Motors dropped down to 57 cents a share. Ford dropped down to 120. I think Hog was down under 10 bucks. Bank of America hit 5 during the Obama run when he took office. So yeah, it was a crash that was uncontrollable, and it was all, they blamed it on the housing bubble. I blamed it on over-regulations and the love and hate for Wall Street. Everybody wanted to get out, and then they bought the dip. So the next one we're going to talk about is AT&T. Is that just regular T, the ticker? Let me look at the 20-year. See, they all predicted that the market would crash when Trump took office. Well, it was just the opposite. They dropped the regulations, and we had one heck of a boom. We had one of the best economies in over 50 years. And then we had the COVID crash, which was unpredicted. It was an opportunity to probably jump in the trade. I called the pullback to 18,000 on the Dow, to 18 to 20,000 when we were at 27. And we pulled right back to it, and we retraced off that bounce. So right now I'm calling the Dow to hit 40 in the next 4 years. I think we'll hit 40 and then consolidate. In probably about 15 years, the Dow will be at 75,000. So let's go ahead and look at the yearly chart. Trying to figure out why I got these in here, but I'm going to clean this up. It's kind of a sloppy chart. It sure does look good. We've had higher lows and higher highs. We got a little wedge right here, and I think we can break resistance level of right around, let me see here, right there at 30.49. We did kind of break that on Friday, and she kind of closed here with a good bullish candle, and we could have a little bitty pullback to support level, and that's going to be right in here. Right in here. And then resistance level is going to be right in here. Support level is going to be right down here. Yeah, I think we're in an upper wedge. I think we can still go up. This is a nice little breakout, and it needed time to consolidate. So we created a little Darvas box here. And let's pull this up on the 20-day. It's just what you would call a Darvas box. So I want to color this in. I'm going to start with this candle right here. And I'm going to move it back and try to find some kind of support level. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm kind of liking this area right in here. So that's kind of our little Darvas box. Damn it, I should have brought that over a little farther. Yeah, we'll just put it right in here. That pivot point is going to be this line right here. We'll make this red. So that's our Darvas box. That's the channel we got to break in. Now this stock could pull back to support level, and that's going to be right in here. Whoops. At 29.71. So that's going to be your first support. Your second one's going to be this pivot point right here at 30 bucks. If that can hold, it can move up, or it can pull back to this support level at 29.71 and jump in the trade. I think it can pull back a little bit more, just a little bit more, maybe 20 cents. But that's going to be your solid support. And then at resistance to break, it's going to be this double top up here at 30.49. But we want to draw this trend line right in here. This is a resistance level. So your three resistance levels is going to be 30.49, 30.78, and 31. Your support levels are going to be 30 bucks, 29.71, and at 29.56. With a strong buy down here at 29.25. T, I think we can move up. We do have higher lows right in here, which means it's determining right now if it wants to. So any pullback to me is going to be a strong buy back up to resistance. And that's going to be T. And the next one is Amazon by Ready. Let's take a good look at Amazon. We've got about 45 minutes left. This here is a tricky one to play too. You got Bernie Sanders up there squawking and whining about unions. It's going to put a little jar in the stock a little bit. So they're going to be battling back and forth. They're going to try to unionize Amazon, which I think it's going to be a hard thing to do. But I think, eventually, they're always trying to pick on the biggest companies of all, thinking they're doing good when they're not. So we're going to pull up the yearly chart on this just to take a look at the moving averages. This is the catalyst for me to say that I'm a bear on it right now, but I want to see it hold support level area, and that's no lower than this 29.55. To me, that's a solid pivot point on this yearly chart. We have pulled back to it a couple times and found real solid support areas in these areas. So we could touch that again. We could have, but we did have a bullish hammer into close on Friday, which tells me we could run back up to the resistance level of what we had right in here. So I'm going to magnify that up a little bit, and we're going to hit this level right in here for a resistance level, and then we're going to head pull this on back. We're going to try to find a pivot point in this channel, and that's going to be kind of hard to say, but I like it right in here. I'll show you why here in a second. Right in here, I'll just draw this and you can see what I'm talking about. As I go across, we pull back, equilibrium, 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 and then same thing up right in here. So yeah, anything below, I think my buy signal that needs to hold would be this 29.55 area, and then the resistance to break is going to be up here right around 31.50. 31.51. So it might stay in this channel for the next week or two, but the resistance to break is going to be, like I said, that 31.52 area, and the support to hold is going to be this 29.53. And that's, for right now, we're bearish because it's under the 200. But if this 200 keeps rising up, we'll become more bearish. So it's got to go ahead and curve off a little bit, and this 50 days got to stay above that 200. So 29.55 is going to be your low support. And that's Amazon. AQB, the salmon. I love salmon. It's my second favorite fish behind mahi-mahi and crappie, Missouri crappie. If you ever had that, So AQB is a salmon kind of thing. This is a stock that I like. Every time we pull back and hit that 200, you see what happens. I'm going to clear this up. You can see I've charted this a few times. But we almost pulled back to that 200. So on the daily, yearly chart, that 200 SMA is a solid support level. So if we do pull back, that's going to be a strong buy. But for right now, we're in a bullish pattern. We have this previous candle body that closed above the body of the previous green one. So that's kind of bullish to me. Depends on the market sentiment that when we come in here Monday and how many eyes are on this stock. But that's going to be a solid support level. As you can see, we have these two candles right here, the bodies of them, and then the body of that one hit it right here. But strong buy off the 200, which right now is at 564. And I'm going to pull up a couple more resistance levels. We've got one right here. And we got another one right here. And another one right here. We're going to pull up to 20. Let's see if we can find one more support. That's right down here. I'm looking over here at this candle over here. Bam. Right there. Then we'll pull up the daily 20-minute, 1 hour. See if I missed anything at all in here. Bam. That's the support level. So these are your three supports. I called that support right here and right in here. So you got three supports with a strong buy at 581. You got resistance to break right here at 653. If we can break past 653, we'll run it up here to 682 and 714 with a maybe an exit plan past that 714 or a little bit higher up here to right around the 741. So right now we're in an equilibrium on the 20-day, and I think it's had higher highs, higher lows, and if we keep that going, if we can break this resistance level right here that we had on pre-market on Friday at 667 or 665, I can accept that. We'll run it up to 714 to 741, and that's going to be AQB. The next one, Jackie, we did EOSE. You can go back and look at it. Hello, Jim. I am with your group, and you are all very helpful of entertaining all day. Did you look at snow? Yeah. Well, thank you very much, M. King. We're glad to have you in the room. Let me know on private message who you are, and I'll give you a little extra special attention. Always private message me too. Don't feel like you're a pain in my butt, because I will answer you. If you're in a trade and you're stuck, or you want to get out of something, or you're worried about a trade, message me, and I'll try to help you out. Or if you got a great idea, send it my way. If you're liking something and you say, Jim, I'm really liking this, can you tell me, or what do you think of it? So snow had a pretty solid little bottom back here on the sell-off at 202. And I've been watching snow, and it's been on my plate for a while. I'm going to pull up the yearly chart. I'm going to clean it up and get a better picture of it when everything's fresh and simple. This is the pivot point area on the yearly chart, right in here. This is how I determine what a pivot point is. You got a little pivot point channel right in here. So that's the resistance levels that we got to get this thing to. That's the pivot point on the yearly. Okay, and this stock ain't been around for a whole year. Resistance to break is going to be right in here. Follow it on down, I can see some confirmation going on. So we got another resistance right here, and I'm seeing that from this area right in here, with a solid support down here right around that 219.67 area off the bottom of this candle. Kind of glides on down through here. And then we've got a pivot point in there, another support level off this candle right here, and I'm going to follow it on up. Bam, 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 and bam, and bam. And then we got one right in here. And then I'm going to look at the 20-day. Right now they just look like a bunch of lines. We'll get a better picture of it on the 20-day. Oh, I want to go back and color them pivot point areas in. I should have done that first. Yearly. What did I say the pivot point was right here? I'm going to color these in red. because I know that's going to be the hard resistance to get to. Then I'm going to draw it in with a color, and I'll know. And it runs right into that 50. See that? I didn't see that until just now. So that's definitely a hard resistance level at 265.92. If you can swing this all the way up there, the resistance we got to break is going to be right in here. When you want to break a resistance level, you see this was a hard resistance. 1, 2, 3 times. Tried to do it here, couldn't do it. So yeah, that's going to be your resistance level to break. Now we'll go to the 20-day. That's how I call this trade out. No lower, strong buy down here at 213 if it pulls back to this area. If. I think we're going to have a green week next week, but we're going to have still going to have that volatility. So we got 3 support levels. Strong buy at 213, then we got the 220 area, and then we got the 226.50 area right in here for your supports. The pivot point, the resistance to break is going to be where we saw this consolidated area right in here at 239.55. If we can bust past that, we've got 3 resistances to get to, and that's going to be that 246.45, and then probably some equilibrium in here right around this 251 area. And maybe, you know, I'd almost, if we can break this area right in here, you'll be fine. If not, I'd probably take my profit and play the pullback. We got to break that 239.50 and then bring it to the next 3 resistance levels. So always when you're looking at a channel, you usually have 3 supports, a pivot point, and a resistance level. But on the 20-day, this is the pivot point, and on the yearly, this is the pivot point. So we got to get past this 239.55, and that's on snow. With your supports right here, you can stop this at any time and look this over and try to figure out how I come up with that. Oh, here comes Thunderbird he must be an Obama fan. I'm happy for you. Times and date don't mean crap to me, man. He was running, like I said, he was bitching about Wall Street back in 2007. He was calling them fat cats and freeliners and jet freaks and telling people not to go to Vegas and all kinds of crap. So the next one we're going to be talking about is TME. I talked about that a little bit, but we'll go over it again. So let's not talk politics on here. Especially if you don't know what you're talking about. We got an inverse head and shoulders right down here. I think we're ready for another breakout. It can get past 21.13, then maybe run up to 22.57. And I'm in this trade in my challenge account right here. I got in it I'm up on this trade, got in at 162. And she broke at 251. So yeah, I think we're ready for a retracement back up, and we got to break this resistance level of 21.13, bring it to 22.57, 23.79, and 25.18. So the next one we're going to talk about is, anybody have any more they want me to look at? Let's look at, we look at Boeing already? Oh, how about NVIDIA? We got another resistance level on NVIDIA. She had a great little run on Friday. We're going to clean these up. Support level here at 494.93, This is going to be a great little breakout stock come Monday, come this week. And we've got a little resistance level up right around in here, and then one right up in here. We got a support level right here. So strong buy. If it does dip on back down, it'll be right here at 494.93. I think we can go ahead and break it on up. We are at a pivot point area on the 20-day chart, and I think it could be all the way up to 521 to 528 with a support level here at 505 and 494. You like to SPY? I do too. What's on? Is there a stock called on? Let's look at the SPY. Is on a ticker? Heck yeah, it is. On semiconductor. I've never seen this one before. I guess I have. Let me clear this up. We've got a nice little trend, that's for sure. Right there. That's held support pretty well. We'll bring this here. Although I will say politics has a lot to do with Wall Street. They can move the market. Politicians can. They could start wars and overregulate and underregulate. Throw a bunch of money at fat cats on Wall Street. That's what they mostly do anyway. Okay, yeah, it's on. I think semiconductor, I think this trade is on. We had a nice couple bull candles. Resistance is going to be hard to break here at 41.86. Let's bring it to the 20-day and see if I missed anything. I really like the choppiness of this one here. This is a trade I want to get out on an engulfing candle. I don't want to hesitate and take my profit on this trade at all. So we've had a nice little pullback to support level here, and she's had a nice good run all the way from about $3, almost $3.50 all the way up to here. So we have a little resistance that we got to break at 41.19 and then take it up to 41.86. Solid support I'm thinking is going to be in 3 different branches. It's going to be one right here and then another one right in here. So on the 20-day, I know there's a lot of lines on here right now. This is a real choppy trade. So anytime you get a nice engulfing candle from here on out, I take my profit and look for the pullback. For right now, I keep thinking this is a pivot point area right in here because we pulled back here a couple times. So yeah, we've got a Darvis box channel. So this is going to be a solid support level right in here. This is where we want it to hold. I'll put that in a red line. So we've got 38.14, 38.58, and 39.17. Okay, your first support is going to be your 39.61. If it pulls back there, you could be into the trade and run it up. It could pull back and hit this 200 on the 20-day, 1 hour, and that's going to be your second support level, which I'm going to call the pivot point in this channel at 39.17. And then your third support channel is going to be between 38.14 and 38.58 for a strong buy. Can pull back and hit this, but I like to see it hold this 38.14 and then run up and break resistance at 41.86. So yeah, I think we're in a place where it can pull back real sharp and then bounce back up. And that's on. The next one we're going to talk about, it's a semi-stock, yeah, domestic, great chart, not the worst chain, SOAN. Did we do that one already? We've got 25 more minutes to go. Let's look at these. Let's get pretty big candles on this one here. It's a penny stock. Let's look at the, let's clear this up first. Look at the yearly. Wow. Now this is a heck of a run. Announces amendment to related execution of global license for multiple sclerosis. Oh, this is a, yeah, this is kind of neat. 15 patients, related to 15 patients. Explain history of muscle U4. They got preferred stock they put out. That's good. Yeah, I think I like this stock for a penny. For a sub penny. I'm going to draw a trend line right in here. And I'm looking for a connection to all these candlesticks and the bodies. Okay. Let's look at the 20-day. Kind of a choppy little thing here, ain't it? So let's draw a solid buy down here right around 4 cents. If it dips down to 4 cents. Right now we've got some higher lows, which is a bullish pattern to me. Higher lows. And we are creating a flag. Well, we do have, this could be almost like an ascending triangle. So I want to draw this up. We'll draw this trend line across here. I'll make this blue. Whoop. And draw one more trend line. So we're kind of forming an odd ascending triangle with higher lows. I think if it's good to keep it in here in this channel off this 200. So to me, I want to see it hold this support level at 53, right around 55 area, somewhere in here. If it holds that, we can try to break resistance level of 664. I'm going to go back 3 years on this stock. I don't see, oh, we have a 1265 over here. So that could be a target, long, if you were long in the trade. I'll look for that 1265. And if you can get in it at 4 cents, SOAN, that'll be a great investment for you. I like how this 50 SMA is curling up over the 200, which gives me a bullish sentiment. long, I'd take this almost to 12 cents and try to break that. That's SOAN. Like the wicks. That dang old 200. Okay, well, we have any more we want to talk about? How about Netflix? I noticed Netflix pulled back and hit that 50-day on Friday. That's on the 3-year. And if we look at the 1-year, we pulled back and dipped below the 200. And this is the SMA. So I got a strong buy down here right around the 494 area. And I think if we can hit that, we can go ahead and bounce on up, break resistance level. And that resistance level on Netflix is going to be right here, right around 516. And if we can get up to 516, we could take it up to 525 and then try to break resistance at the 50, and that's going to be right at 533. So I'm really watching this. I almost took the trade Friday. I kind of wish I would have, because I called it under 500 bucks. I kept talking about it. I said, man, we're down here at 496. This looks so yummy down here. And then right into close, I just shake my head. That would have been a nice trade. And I was calling it down here at the bottom. And I was already jumped into 3 other trades at the time, right around that period of time right there. And I did not expect to see this. I did not expect to see this. I was getting bullish because Biden was talking about the president of China and Putin meeting up with them. And that's what gave me the catalyst to start getting into these trades, because I know next week we might have us a bullish week. But a lot of stocks turned around that last half hour of the day, if you all remember. That was a pretty exciting moment, especially the scanner. So, as I said on this one here, I like it. I think we need to, if we do pull back down here to 500 bucks, that's going to be a strong buy. And then we're going to try to take it up here and break resistance level of 516, 525, and then long right in here, right around the 531 to 533. And that's Netflix. Well, I appreciate Joshua. The steel company, X. Yes, infrastructure bill. We called this on the pullback, and it's already had a reversal. It was down here below that $20 area and down here around 17. I think this thing's ready to go ahead and pull back to the 200 right here, maybe right around this 21.89 area, or right around the 20 bucks for a strong buy. We are starting to curl up on the 50. And resistance level to break is going to be this 23.87, 24.31 to a double top on the 20-day at 25 bucks, 25.72. So I'm bullish on this stock. Any kind of pullback is a strong buy. Always remember my 5-day rule, and that'll help you out a lot when trading. 5 days up, 5 days down. I think we're going to continue up a little bit. But I think it's had a nice run, $4 in 2 days, and it will pull back and then retrace back up. Unless you start really hearing of the bill being signed, and then we got a resistance level to break at 25.72. So the next one we're going to talk about is ARK. ARKK, Kathy Woods. Called this bottom in the room. I said we've been down here before, and history repeats itself, where she likes to bounce up off this 111.09. So I jumped into the trade, and I told another guy jumped in the trade in the room with me, made 150 on it in a matter of no time at all. I mean, this was a real fast bounce up. I think we're ready to go ahead and get back up in here and break resistance level of 117.70 on ARC, and then run it all the way up here to right around 119, 120 area, 121.87, and then maybe right around the 124. But we're going to consolidate and build a channel to the right, and resistance to break is going to be at 116.44. Well, actually, let's take it here. Yeah, 114.58, 116.44 to 117, and then hard resistance at 120. We break past 120, we got 121.87 and 124 with a support level to hold at 111. And that's ARC. I love this stock. So, any more that we want to talk about here? Let's see if I have any more on my watch list. GME. GME had that nice little run on Thursday, and then pulled back and consolidated. So it's got a strong support right around this $130 area where we had this ascending triangle. And I always talk about them support levels. And we had a double bottom right down here at 117.84. So if this thing pulls back, we've got a couple support levels to hit on GME. And I think it could be, I think she is creating lower highs. And any kind of breakout, it won't be very, very long lasting. But it will definitely be fun, a fun ride. This was called out in the room by Cayman. He got play of the day on this trade here, and then she pulled back on Friday, and I think she'll keep doing it. Maybe pull back to this lower support of right around 145 to 131.65, and then try to find a channel to the right. But this is a tough one to trade. This is one where you got to watch the trend. And that's GME. Another bottom ride stock, ride. Oh yeah, ride's way down there. Nordstrom, they had a real high price target on this one here to 30 bucks. A lot of the fat cats did, but then we've had a real hard pullback. Now the EV car sector is going to have some issues for a while with the chip making. So it's just something that we got to wait for the right time to get into the trades. When the news starts to be positive on these and you start hearing less about the chips, I think we'll definitely have a good rebound on these trades. So keep that watch list clean, fresh on your EV car sector. If there's any in there you don't like, take them out. If there's anything in there that you do like, keep them in there, because I think we are getting ready to pause for a rebound on these trades. And we do have a little up higher lows right here that I'd like on this here on ride. And we do have a little inverse, I would call almost an inverse flag, an inverse pennant flag, to where we can start to see some resistance level. That resistance level is going to be right in here. Right there. Probably a little bit too much, but then a hard resistance right in here, and bottom line resistance right there at the 200 on the 20-day. So we are at a support level, and it really needs to hold this trend line right around this, this 1166 area, or no lower than right around 1128, 1126, with a strong buy down here at 1089. Let's look at the yearly chart one more time. Yeah, see, we don't want to get too much lower than where we are right now. So I think we're ready to retrace back up here real soon. And if I'm looking at this area right in, you see how important that 200 is right there? I got to color that line in. That's going to be your hard resistance to break. Let's pull back right in here. So now we'll pull up the 20-day and look at it again. Okay. Support levels, 1089 and 1126. resistance to break are going to be your 1202 all the way up to around 1310. And if you can break that 1310 that was on the year, we'll take it up to the 200, right around $14. And then we'll just see what comes in the news. But I think it's ready to retrace back on up. Right. And Nile's going to have some issues with the chips. Everybody loves Nile. I called her hard resistance at 65 bucks. I was telling the room about it. You know, I said, I don't care. I'm getting out of the trade at 65. That's a hard resistance. And we've pulled back ever since. We've had a real hard sell-off back here when it pulled back to 40. She ran up, then she pulled back again, and now we're consolidating a little bit. Can this stock drop a little bit more? It could. It can, but I think it's building up strength, valued strength. A lot of institutions own this trade, and they'll be buying the dips. I think a lot of them got in a little bit before this and around this area right in here. So we're going to pull up the yearly chart. We had a good ride all the way up to 61.57. I was way out of the trade on by the time that it got all the way up to here. I just didn't feel it. Everybody else was screaming about how bullish they were on it, that it was going to go to 100. I said, no, it ain't going to happen. Not one reason, and one reason only: China. I love China, don't take me wrong. I love the Asian and Chinese people. Just the government, I probably have a little issue with. So I'm always cautious when it comes to China trades. I don't want to throw all my money in lock, barrel, and key unless I'm scalping it or I'm doing a small swing trade. We have had 3 black crows right here, a pretty big gap down, and I think we can touch back down to this 200. So keep this 200 SMA on your watch list or on your chart for the yearly daily, and then we'll pull back. I think that solid support needs to hold right here at 43.89. If you can hold that, I think we can retrace back up and try to get up here right around the 47.35, 48.45, and then right around the $50 area. But we're going to be going sideways with it until we figure out about the chip making company. I think it can drip a little bit below this 200 and have a little retracement back up. So I'm not 100% bullish on this one right yet. I think it could pull back a little bit more and hit this 200 and then bounce off that 200. See how it loves that 200? Then we touched back here again. Had 3 black crows. Actually 5 of them. 5-day sell-off. Ugly. I talk about this 5-day rule all the time. I am a legend when it comes to my 5-day rule. So yeah, I think it's going to pull back and hit this again and then run back up and hold that support level. Might go a little bit below that 200, but that's going to be your buy territory to get into NIO. So that's it. I think I'm about done. I'm going to put that script of that one and I'll put the YouTube channel down there below it that talks about a little bit about that chart. That chart was this one right here. It's great to learn for beginners. I would trade this with a look at NIO. I mean, see how telling you how bullish that is on NIO. This is the 5-minute. I think it works real well on the 5-minute. And I'll go ahead and put this link after I get done with this recording down in the content section with the YouTube video behind it if I can find it. So that's it for the Sunday. We're going to keep doing these on Sunday. Always remember, you know, I love stocks. I do this because I don't have to do this. In fact, I can just go ahead and retire and walk away, but I just like helping people out, and I like learning from people, and I think this will keep my brain active until after I get ready to retire, and then I'll be doing this for fun and and keep on going on in life. But we have our Twitter link, Stock Twits, our YouTube channel. Hit that like button if you haven't hit it already. Make some comments down below in the comment section so YouTube knows that I'm active. And I'm going to wish everybody a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I think we're going to be bullish next week. Let's take a look at the SPY. And see what we find anything on the SPY before I head out of here. One thing I did like about the SPY is we pulled back and hit that 50-day. That 50-day has been a solid support level, and it's bounced off that 50-day pretty good. Then the last 2 days have been just excellent. So the resistance we got to break on the SPY is going to be this double top area right here at 397. Now I think we're going to break 400 on this thing real soon, and we're going to get up to right around 408 probably in the next month or two. I think we're ready for a bullish month, and just batten down the hatches, get into a couple good trades that you really like. Remember, the beginning of this was about, in last week's series, was about the watch list. So also, go back and watch some of these videos that I did on the watch list. I did a part 5 series of trades that I walked you through that I did all week long, and I showed you exactly how I took them, and I called the supports and resistance levels after each one of them. They're not always 100% because you never know what the market's going to tell you the next day, but if they do pull back and they hit them support levels that I call, they're pretty good strong buys. So always wait for a confirmation when you're taking one of them alerts. So that's it. We're going to go ahead and shut this thing down. And I wish everybody a great day today, and we'll see you Monday. Subscribe, ring that bell, and then you'll get all of my little short videos that I do throughout the week on a certain stock that I'm watching, or that I think is going to break out, or I think that can pull back to a good solid buy support level. And I hope you get something out of this that benefits you in these videos. And if they do, let me know down in the comment section. I'd appreciate that too. I've been kind of cooped up in this, what I call a small little bunker of mine, for almost a year and a half. Hardly gone out, hardly done any dating or anything. Haven't played any music. So I'm ready for COVID to get over so I can get out and party a little bit. Meet a bunch of my friends that I haven't been associating with for a long time, and start get back into the music scene a little bit and do some house concerts. Kind of live it up a little bit this year. Make up for some of that lost time last year. So keep a good watch list going. It means a lot, them watch lists. I'm going to be working off this watch list next week, and I'll be adding to it and subtracting onto it. So that's always something that I always rely on. You always got to have a little backup in case. Remember, I started this video last week, and then Lisa Ann quit on us on Tuesday or something like that. It was horrible. People just kind of went numb because they didn't have that thing blurring in your ears. Well, I was able to go back and work off my watch list, and I was making trades off of it. So always have a backup. Always remember, I love stocks. I'm going to go in there and cook me up some chicken soup in my Instapot. Maybe go out, take a country cruise. Everybody have a nice day, and I'll see you come Monday. Yabba dabba doo.